speaking of Goddess of Love, does Bella have a new boyfriend?
Legolas?
Legolas now? Because Edward is hard in the background.
Bella Swan and Legolas?
Yeah.
He would never.
He would find her so boring.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching the Gilded Age, Season 1, Episode 4, A Long Ladder. First of all, I want to thank everybody for their comments last week.
Yeah, seriously.
That is literally one of our most commented on videos ever. However, I don't care about the stock market.
For real. Yep.
You guys did so much. I love the comments. You guys did so much about the stock market. And
yes,
a little of it was patronizing.
Yeah, really thorough. Still have no idea what's going on.
Whatever.
So I'm just going to sit this one out.
So, okay, we pick up where we left off. Mr. Morris is dead, and we are at his funeral. Not everybody is at the funeral, but the Morrises and the Fanes are at the funeral. And then we just sort of kind of
move right past it.
Life as usual.
Yeah. I was really surprised how fast we processed through that.
Yeah, well, I mean, really only Mrs. Morris is the one that needs to be in mourning for like a year or whatever.
But I guess the preview for this episode made it seem like this death was going to have a much larger impact socially.
It was literally the funeral scene, and then it was George Russell meeting Mr. Fane outside his club and being like, hey, I didn't mean for that to happen. Let's stay in business together.
Mr. Fane's like, cool. Yep. I wasn't going to blame you.
Will do. Mm-hmm. And then it, I guess, was sort of in those kind of behind the lines, like between the lines, everything agreement that like Mr. Russell is like, no, and you'll get your fortune back. You'll be fine. I'll save you and it'll be fine. And it's working because then Mrs. Fane invited Mrs. Russell to the symphony. Yeah.
And I just love that it just was a running theme where everyone was like, he was weak. What are you going to do? This is not a game for weak people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we said as much last week, but like, ouch, man. Like, even though, I mean, it's very true. Because I mean, he got out way too quickly.
Yeah, way too quickly.
But it also was just kind of like, damn. Because like everybody knew.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Even Mr. Russell, who, I mean, I wouldn't say he's to blame because, again, it was a sort of, in this instance, it was a kind of weakness. And he was just sort of like, well, it's a strong man's game. And like, what am I to do about it? And Mr. Fane was like, indeed. And then they just moved on.
I mean, that's what I'm going to start doing. Do you from now on just going, indeed.
Indeed.
Just walking around the house.
Love it.
Indeed.
Indeed. Start carrying around my teacup.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. Bertha is conquering.
Yeah, she is.
She's on the up and up.
Yeah.
She's gonna patronize the Red Cross for Mrs. Barton.
Yes, Clara Barton.
And that is gonna be helpful. Okay. Now I was already forgetting everything that happened in this episode. Ada's dog Pumpkin runs away from Bannister. Pumpkin's fine.
Pumpkin is fine.
But I thought Pumpkin was going to get trampled by a horse.
Me too.
Or run over by a carriage. So the fact that Pumpkin is fine is great. I do love what Bertha was attempting to do. Because she was like, pick up the dog. It belongs to the family across the street. Give it a bath. Give it some food. We'll write a letter and whatever. And she was attempting to weasel her way into the Van Ryn house, which props, do it.
Yeah, an opportunity presented itself. Yeah. Might as well take it.
And then Agnes was like, I know exactly what you're up to, you floozy.
You want to get in this house.
And she was like, absolutely not. So they sent Bannister, who had lost the dog, to go pick up the dog. Bannister, ban 1,000. So the dog comes back, but it's like, I love how they're all reading the cues in between each other. Mm-hmm. Where it's just because Bertha was like, no, I got this unlock. And Agnes was like, ha-cha. No, you don't.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. I'm going to get this out of the way early. Turner.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Butt-ass naked. Gets in bed with Mr. Russell.
So this was what I was going to bring up when we were out there.
Okay.
Why do you think she feels as,
bold?
Yes. Why does she think that she can do this?
So she was in a better house an old money house before she came here. Like, Bertha poached her, I think.
Yeah.
And so she was basically, Bertha wanted her to show her the ropes of the old money. And so I think she probably was having an affair with the old boss.
You know.
So she's just like, well, I can do it again. But these people have more money. And Mr. Russell blessedly was like, get the fuck out of my bed. I love my wife, and I am absolutely not interested in a mistress.
Also, can we just put a real quick button on the growl that escaped him when she was like kissing his shoulder?
You mean when he thought she was his lovely wife?
My God. I'm Morgan Spector. Keep that on lock. Okay?
I mean, have some respect for the viewers at home.
Jesus.
I can't handle it.
Especially those of us single on Valentine's Day.
Okay, I am not single, but still. It's a lot. My husband doesn't growl in the night.
First, I got Matthew Good growling at me. We got growling and our fucking fairy books. Then we got fucking George Russell growling. I am unwell, friends.
In total fairness, we can't hear the growling in the fairy books. However,
I can hear the growling.
Now that I have heard George Russell growl, that is what the growling sounds like in the fairy books.
Jesus Christ. Killing me, y'all. Yeah. Killing me. So hot.
So that was very good.
And as to quote you, Morgan Spector, you are fit, sir.
Fit.
Capital.
He could get it. He could super get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whew. Good times.
Anyway, that floozy.
Yeah.
Just, disrobes, tits out, knee up, being like, I will turn it into a temple for you.
Ugh.
I would never, have never, could never with someone else's man.
No.
And especially in this time period, that's what I think is like blowing my mind the most. It's like, what? Like you feel, on one hand, I kind of want to be like, good job. Like to, own your chutzpah like that.
Have
but
the balls, yeah.
My God, no. And then
especially not when your position is on the line. If Bertha finds out about this,
she's dead.
Like she would stab her.
Yes, she would. And that's another thing too. I was just about to say, she is her lady's maid. Yeah. You don't think that Bertha has flown off the fucking handle in front of her? We've seen her throw a breakfast table already. She has broken many a mirror. You know she has in front of Turner. Yeah. I would be afraid of her if I were Turner.
Yeah.
But that's just me. And I also don't go lay in other people's beds.
No,
like I don't do that.
I don't generally get totally naked and then go lie in a relative stranger's bed.
No.
They're also just like, I know it happens and I know it like did happen and everything, but like, it's just like, you're right, the chutzpah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it take to...
Well, and then too, because in this time period...
Especially with those bangs. Sorry. Yeah. They were like...
Terrible. Yeah. Like mini Coke bottle bangs.
Nah.
But in this time period, in this type of position, your references mean everything to you for future employment. Why would you endanger yourself in such a way that you could not guarantee yourself future employment?
Well, and then, Church... At the end, when Bertha left for the symphony and she was just still standing there and Church was like, is something keeping you? Church knows what's up, I think.
Yes, he does. Because he keeps calling her on a bullshit. Like, go. What are you doing?
I like that quite a lot. Also, the scene with Church and Bannister.
Yes, we couldn't figure out if like Bannister was trying to help. I think Bannister was trying to help.
I think it was like a half and half situation.
Yeah, well, because I feel like he can't seem like he's helping because then it would be like helping the enemy, but I think he also, I'm sure he's fucking tired of hearing the bullshit too, so it's like if we could help move things along a little bit more, then it would take some pressure off of all of us. So, but it was just kind of like, you line up your glasses in the American way. Interesting, not the square in the English way.
What's interesting too is that I sort of feel like Bannister knows that the Russells are kind of like creeping up. And so he's like, you're like, I do think that's the half of me that's like, Bannister is like, you are about to have important guests in the house. You need to know things.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, but I'm actually like the chicken soup for luncheon. I was like,
but is it cold?
Chicken soup is for all the time, bitch.
Yeah.
Chicken soup made by a French chef.
Yeah.
That's for all the time. That's for breakfast if you feel like it.
Weirdly, cold soup has been a topic this past week.
Has it?
With the gazpacho. Not to bring like current events into it, but the gazpacho.
I refuse to engage with that idiot.
Same.
Same.
But I'm just kind of like, but weird that's come up more than once.
Cold soup.
Yep.
In the winter.
And then to quote TikTok, good soup.
Good soup, indeed. Okay, so I want to get past the thing with Jack and Bridget because boy howdy do I not need this. Jack is still sort of like, what did I do wrong? Mm-hmm. And she's like, nothing. And he's like, well, then why won't you go out with me again? And I definitely agree. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain yourself, except for he thinks he did something wrong.
Right.
And I think that he needs to know that he didn't do anything wrong because he's so sweet and he just likes her. I don't need this. Her dad did stuff to her and her mom just let it happen. Ugh.
Yeah.
Disgusting. We at least found out, we didn't like drag it out for like multiple episodes. We found out it's horrible. She told, I just keep on forgetting the lady's name, the maid. She's great. I like her quite a lot. The one that was gambling.
Yes.
Mrs. Bauer. She's Mrs. Bauer. She told her that was nice. I liked that she told her, but it also was as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I really didn't want that to be the case.
Well, I mean, just how visceral her reactions were.
To the physicality of it, it had to be something. It's just super horrible. Mm-hmm. I feel terrible. I wonder how we're going to move forward from that.
Yeah, I don't know. Because
she actually like hates her mother the most, which is appropriate.
And I don't necessarily want us to force this character in a nice way to have a relationship with Jack because she doesn't deserve that either. Like if she just wants to be by herself, she can be by herself.
Yeah. I would think I don't think she's like required to tell him. I would be interested if there was a way for them to like maintain like a friendliness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if she just said, I think you're nice, I'm just not interested in that type of relationship and I don't want to explain anything more.
I don't know if that language exists in 1882.
I don't know. These people upstairs are saying, what was the word that I didn't know the meaning of?
Amanuensis.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
So we have people upstairs saying that stuff, but I can't. Downstairs they came in like, you're nice, but no thank you.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Chamberlain. Okay, it is slightly more delicious than we got last week. Because last week it was a very veiled, weird comment about how her son is too old, so like they were sleeping together before they were married. It turns out she was Mr. Chamberlain's mistress for years before his wife passed. And then they got married and now he's dead. So she is a widower as well.
Yes, and the son is Mr. Chamberlain's and apparently you could tell from the beginning.
And so he moved to Chicago.
Yes.
So he's in Chicago. I am way more satisfied with that.
Me too.
I still think it's dumb, especially because how much time has long enough for an adult son to be living on his own in Chicago.
Right.
So that's sort of stupid, but I am again way more satisfied with that. I also remain in love with Jean Triplehorn. She's so good in this role. When they meet at the store, Peggy and Marion and what is even her name? Does she have a first name yet? Sylvia. So the three of them meet in this shop that Peggy does not want to be in, and everybody is making eyeballs at her because she's black. And so Mrs. Chamberlain sort of like gets over on that, and she shows them this like exquisite carved wooden box.
So pretty.
So nice. So that's really cool. And then except that she sends the box to Marion.
But it was smart though because she
didn't leave a note.
She knew that she was going to send it back.
Yeah. So she didn't leave a note or anything. So Marion could like get around Agnes and be like, well, it's not anything important, so I'm going to give it back. So you don't even have to worry about it because I won't tell you where it's from. So I have to give it back. But Ada finds out and Ada's like, you cannot go in the house. And Marion is like, what about just for a minute though? Mm-hmm. So she goes and walks around and looks at all the Degas art.
I would have worn my Degas leggings that I have, but then they would have been wasted on you guys because you wouldn't be able to see it.
So that's really lovely. She tells the story basically of like the husband, Mr. Chamberlain, like had all the money and everything. And so they kind of like, she helped him kind of like get into society and everything. I was totally right, by the way. The woman who plays, I don't know who she is yet, but the woman who plays Dorota in Gossip Girl is on the show.
Who?
Mabel Ainsley? I don't know who that is.
Have we met her?
I don't know, but that's her.
Oh, I don't think we've met her already.
Yeah, Dorota the maid from Gossip Girl.
Huh.
Anyway, love it. I thought I saw her last week. And I was like, I think that's Dorota, but it wasn't on her. I wasn't on the internet yet. Regardless, that was like a little thing. I don't even remember what I was saying. You got to help me out. I had a little too much wine. It's Valentine's Day.
But we were talking about Mrs. Chamberlain and how we found out what happened, and then Marion going over there.
Yes.
And
oh my God. And then there was that amazing scene with Marion and Ada and Oscar.
Yes, when there was like tea.
So I think I figured out who his voice is reminding me of.
Who? It
is also Gossip Girl related, and it is Chuck Bass.
Yes! Yeah. Sorry, Will. I know I'm screaming, but my God.
Not in the face at all.
No.
He's Adrian Brody in the face, Chuck Bass in the voice. That's what it is.
Yeah. Because it's like this smoky, like whisper. Oh, that's good.
That was what was killing me. But they sort of had like a delicious talk about the whole thing, and they both were like, "We have to stop talking before Agnes comes back." And it was really, I liked the three of them. I would like more scenes with the three of them. Me too.
And then even Agnes caught them saying like, "We have to stop talking about it," or and so she was like, "Stop talking about what?" And Oscar was like, "They're going to open the East River Bridge."
Yeah,
and it was just perfect, seamless.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. Okay, I kind of wish we had gotten this over with already too. Peggy went home to see her parents. Well, she's getting published.
Yes, which is very exciting.
Yeah, in the Black newspaper. She also had a super meet cute with Mr. Fortune. He is handsome.
Yes, he is.
Super duper handsome. So he is going to publish her short story. And he has also requested a political article from her because she said, "Why should I choose a political party if I can't even vote? Because I'm a woman."
Preach.
Mwah, amazing. Love it. And so she is at the mother's birthday celebration, which we had a whole thing about last week. And Marion stops by. Look, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Because here's the thing, too, is like nobody is giving Marion the amount of information she needs.
Right.
In order to not do things like this.
Yep. Well, because she also doesn't really know Peggy. Yeah. I mean, Peggy is only divulging as much as she wants Marion to know.
Yeah.
Which is obviously by design. So, you know, Marion's well-meaning.
Yes.
But it's embarrassing.
So she brings, like, charity shoes, like old shoes.
And they make a big deal about the fact that Peggy's family lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah. But it's so nice.
Their family home is stunning.
It's so nice.
So pretty.
I also, because I understand Marion's side of it because she has no concept. Right. You know, she's like, nobody's telling her anything. She has no concept.
Just pure ignorance.
Pure ignorance. She thinks she is real friends with Peggy, and I think she is treating Peggy as a real friend in as much as she can. And but the thing for me is like there's so many outward like indicators. Like, where do you think Peggy's getting these nice dresses?
Right.
Her dresses are as nice as yours, if not sometimes nicer, because this pink and magenta.
Holy shit, my eyeballs fell out of my head.
Holy balls.
So pretty.
Like if she had been wearing that pink and magenta thing and Marion had been wearing that gold and blue thing at the same time, they could have been going to the same place.
Right. That, and then the fact that she is educated enough, both, you know, as a woman and then a woman of color at that as well in this time period. She is educated enough to be hired on as a secretary and confidently so, you know.
And to be pursuing writing as a vocation.
Right.
She should have known.
Really.
Marion should have known.
Yes.
So she like extremely embarrasses herself, except for Mr. Scott is such an asshole. Well, he's an asshole the entire time, not just to Marion.
Right.
But he is also an asshole to Marion to the point that after Marion and Peggy leave, Dorothy is like, get the fuck out of my sight. Which is amazing.
Yeah, because even Peggy tried to cover for Marion because he was like, why would you bring old shoes here? And so then Peggy was like, well, she thought that there was a charity over here that could use them. And he was like, why did you think that the charity would be here? Aren't there so many other charities in Manhattan? And so it's like, just let it go. We're all embarrassed. Everyone's embarrassed. And poor Ellen and at the door is embarrassed.
I think Ellen the maid was not embarrassed. I think Ellen the maid was like, this white girl got what she deserved. Ellen the maid might be my new favorite character, and she did not even have a line.
No, she did so much work. No, she asked if Marion had a card.
That's right. She didn't have a card. Oh man, that was so good. I love it.
Yeah,
I still don't 100% get the like animosity because he's still being a real dick about Peggy's writing too.
Well, because I mean, he said that he owns the pharmacy and he wants her to take it over. But also, in this, would it go to her husband? Because I don't think that he is progressive enough to give a business to a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he is looking down on a woman writing,
so maybe
published.
Maybe that's what we'll find out. I'm trying to temper my predictions after the Mrs. Chamberlain scenario.
Yeah.
But maybe he is like sort of trying to like get her married.
Maybe.
So that he can like pass the store down.
I mean, the lady's really dumb.
Yeah.
But so when Marion and Peggy leave, that's when we have the confrontation where Peggy's like, I live in a completely different world than you do. And because it's frustrating. I would be frustrated if I were Peggy. But it's also like, you know, not to completely excuse Marion for the decision to bring the shoes, but it's just like she thought she was helping. Yeah. But again, it's misinformation, misunderstanding. Yeah. You know, it's.
And then Peggy was like, you also came to my parents' house. What the fuck is up with that?
Right.
Like,
and it's just well-meaning busybody stuff, but it's just like, it's still really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
You know, just be quiet.
Because there's also, I think what's interesting to me too is that there's so many layers to it because it's like for Marion, I think in her ignorance, she believes that like she and Peggy are both women. So they're on the same social strata. And it's like, she doesn't understand in this time how far above Peggy she is in society to the point that she thinks that just because she's black, she's poor.
Right.
And it's like, they are doing great.
Oh, seriously. Oh, Peggy even said the line. She goes, I loaned you money.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, bitch. Yes, you did. That
I
took
gave you
me
train fare, dumbass.
That took me all the way out because Marianne said like my aunt lets you live there. And she's like, I work there.
Yeah.
It will just.
It's basically like she's renting a room.
Yeah.
Because she can't be getting paid as much as a white secretary.
No.
And so in which case the money is coming out of her pay to stay there.
Just a lot of open mouth, insert foot.
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, like, Marion feels properly bad about it.
Yeah, I hope that they do patch things up because I like them together a lot. And I think
cute.
that they do have a solid friendship. I mean, it's just Marion needs to open her brain more. Yeah. Her brain and her eyeballs. Yeah. So
well, she also came from rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah. There's a lot going into it.
That's why I chose the phrase purely ignorant because it's, I mean, who would have told her, you know?
And it's also, it's so clearly not malicious.
Right.
That I think that like helps a lot. So
we just well-meaning microaggressions.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Just, no.
Real bad.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's even like a macro aggression.
Yeah. No, really is.
Here's my leftover shoes. just like, has she not seen Peggy's shoes? Peggy's nice shoes?
It's if you gave me some holy shoes, like here, I brought these for you, I'd be like,
I tried to give you nice shoes, and they're too wide for you because I have terrible feet.
Sorry. I tried.
You did.
I really did.
The Russells fired Bertha fired Gladys's governess, who seemed nice.
Yes, I'm really annoyed with the situation with Gladys. Yeah. Just let her fucking come out. Just let her come out. She's too old.
I feel like we might do that in like the finale.
I don't want to wait that long.
Okay, but I think it's got to be near there because that's going to finally be the like turnaround time for Bertha to be able to fill the ballroom.
Right. You're right.
So it's like now she's in with Mrs. Fane. She's going to get in with Mrs. Barton. We're getting there. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be, you know, Mrs. Morris is going to be the holdout, but she's going to be the only one. And if some of the comments from last week are to be believed, she is also now wearing the stain of her husband's like shame.
Yeah, because I mean, if Mrs. Morris is like the benchmark of like society, I mean, not to be mean, but like what legs does she have to stand on?
Okay,
to
but like
even try to gatekeep even more.
Sure, but like her dresses were so much better than Mrs. Fane.
They are. I just think Mrs. Fane is tacky.
Mrs. Fane is super tacky.
Yeah, that dress that she wore to the opera, like you said, she too many accessories. Just
it was like so much beading on the bodice, and then like a whole diamond necklace, like this big of a diamond necklace, and I was like, that's too much.
She needs to take dressing advice from Mrs. Russell because that white and blue, like silvery white and blue number, fuck off,
and then a little bird.
Yes, and then double fuck off with the opera outfit. The cape and the
like
so good.
Like I don't even know what to call that color red. Like
I don't either.
Like cerise or something. I mean, it was like
aorta. Like at this point,
the colors of my enemy's blood.
Yeah. Well, because like the beading on the cape almost kind of looked like veins.
It did. Sure.
Like roots. I liked it. I liked it so much.
Oh, it's gonna make a bad joke.
Tell me off camera.
Okay.
Or do you want to say it?
I do, but I don't.
Put up a cut warning.
No. I couldn't even figure out how to phrase it, but it was along the lines of the color of
Mr. Morris.
Mr. Morris's brains.
Yeah, cut that out. But speaking of the opera, we get Mr. Raikes again.
Oh, yes. Okay. So slightly less. Nope. Equally suspicious.
Yeah, now I'm starting to get it. I think he's a social climber, and I think they all know that he's a social climber because there are a lot of looks that were given.
Yeah, so he's
in the box.
He's in a box with like a friend,
a friend's mother,
wife, I think.
Oh, okay.
I assumed wife. I don't know. It just he basically is like, well, I'd like to be able to show something for myself if I come call on your aunts again.
Yeah, so that's why
But it feels like.
They kept making comments about how quickly he's making space for himself in New York. Yeah. And Marion is like, she has all of the connections and she still doesn't feel connected. Yeah. And he seems to be everywhere all at once.
So, okay, we got a comment last week that said, someone said they thought that he had stolen her father's money because he was the lawyer. Like he was the estate's lawyer.
Well, then that would make Mrs. Russell's comment even more true because she said maybe he, I'm going to bastardize it, but it was something to the effect of like maybe he finds that he can't live without it, where it's just like he's always going to do the next thing to get his next hit effectively with money. Yeah. So
I don't know how he thinks that she has any kind of a real dowry, though.
Right. So what would be the end game?
I don't know. It's very weird unless it's just like a name.
Maybe.
Like to be associated with the Van Ryns.
Or does he think that because she's the niece that she is going to get a cut of the Van Ryn thing? I don't know.
I can't decide which way to go about Mr. Raikes.
Yeah. I mean,
I will say it feels like he gets cuter every episode, though.
Yes, he's very handsome. And then you guys are doing a lot of work in the comments to make me change my mind. And I feel kind of silly. But I like him. This is the first time where I was kind of like, oh, no. Because I
agree. The speed with which he's doing it and it's like the speed and accuracy, I guess. It just feels shifty. And she also, I feel like she doesn't feel shifty about it, but she feels sort of weird about it because she hasn't given him an answer yet. No. After he she also can't decide if he actually did propose or not. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't know, did he? Maybe I was mistaken. And so I don't know. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yep. I think we covered everything.
Yep. So good episode. I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going. I really am having a fun time with this show.
Me too.
And blessedly, there was no financial stuff for us to figure out in this episode. So, we will be back next week with episode 5. And that's it for us. Bye.
Bye.